Three, two, one, and we are on. We're on. So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, anyone watching now or later. Welcome back to the Sun Eater series discussion. I am here with Ian once again. So, thank you, Ian, for being here.
Thank you for inviting me.
And so, as always, we start with a general overview. I did my review already of the book, but I don't know anything at all about what you think, how you found it, what you feel about it. So take it away.
All right. Well, what? So this was like 3 months ago. I was able to squeeze this in my reading journey, and let me tell. Okay, this was a lot better. I think we've been somewhat critical of this series right now. The first two books, in my opinion, weren't. They were slow. I will say this actually was fairly intriguing. I think I gave this 3 stars. It did not, because I was so disappointed with the first 2 books. It was kind of holding back the third book. But you know what? I will say, this was a lot better than those first 2 books. I don't know if that's saying anything because I didn't care for the first 2 books. But this is a step up. It was a tad bit. It was a thick book. I think it was like 800 pages.
Yeah.
And you could probably trim that down back to 500, which I'm kind of excited because I have Kingdom of Death behind me. It's a lot. It looks a lot shorter than Demon in White, so it's less intimidating. But with the events that happen in Demon in White, I'm intrigued with the story. I'm curious to see where we go next. This will actually be a spoiler. We're going to be spoiling the heck out of this. So it did leave it. It's not like a cliffhanger, but it's like, oh, okay. So now, like, I'm intrigued because he's got to go and basically repair his girlfriend, kind of thing, and figure that out on how he's going to do that. So I'm intrigued. But yeah, I would say this is a step up, and it has me a little bit interested in going into the next book. Well, we're Howling Dark, that I was not excited to read Demon in White.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. I don't know if we were really critical about the first 2 books, but I think it's fair to say we were not wowed by them.
There you go.
They were just, there was nothing intrinsically wrong with them, but there was no wow factor, I think, for me.
Yes.
Whereas I think this book, I found it is very much it's like a 3-part book. I really enjoy, like, the first part of it felt almost like an Alien movie where he is fighting this sort of amped up creature, kind of half creature, half robot type thing. And that takes a good almost 250 pages, isn't it? It feels like like I said, like watching an Alien movie.
Yeah, and that. But I don't know. See, that's when I say it could cut 200 pages out. I don't know where it could, though, because, like you said, it did feel like I was reading. Like you said, it was in 3 parts. There was like 3 different storylines going on here, and they all kind of converged at the end, kind of to make me happy, I guess. But yeah.
But the first part was this big extended set piece fighting this monster, which was exciting. Like, I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
The middle bit is where I think, in general, the series suffer. It's the whole political intrigue, all the political maneuvers. That part for me dragged a little bit.
Yeah, but I was somewhat interested because they basically, what were they called, you talking about when the Lions or something like that, were they called the Red Lions or something like that? There was the politics, they were trying to frame him and stuff like that. Politics, to me, in books, like, if it can be done well, I enjoy it. I didn't really have a problem with the politics in this book, that political intrigue and stuff like that. I did skim a few parts of that because of the politics to get back into the alien fighting kind of stuff like that. But I guess I didn't really see a problem with the politics, but I can see where it definitely bogged down the story because we're going from him fighting aliens on the spaceship and then all that, and then fighting this big giant robot mech thing at the very end kind of thing. And then you have that lull in the middle with that politics. But I can see it needed that to get to where, because they're basically framing him, and they needed that to get to that point of the book.
Yeah. It's almost like, we just have an action set piece, like a beginning of a movie to grab your attention, a kind of Indiana Jones style. First thing is all action. Then we have to move the plot forward, and that slows down considerably. And how many times is he going to get married or promised in marriage to someone?
Yeah.
And I would be disappointed if all these things didn't all come back later on, not at the end, but later on. If all this, he just breaks away from promised marriages and all this stuff without seemingly any repercussion for now.
Yeah, because he did that. I mean, what are we on, his third person that he was promised to marry kind of thing? When he brought that back, I was like, oh my God, we got to do this again? That's what I thought, because I really hated that in the first couple of books where he was just running away from his his intended marriage, I guess. And I was like, oh, we got to do this again. Like, how many times are we going to? I don't know, but I trust Ruocchio he has a plan, and my guess is it's going to all be wrapped up here, and it's going to hopefully go out with a bang, I guess. But yeah, I got a little annoyed when he's going to be promised marriage again, like blah 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 blah. Just the romance in this book, I don't like it. I don't like romance like stuff like that in the books, but it's good for plot. And I don't think any of the stuff he's trying to do, whether it was with Volka and all those the people that he's encountering, I don't think Ruocchio does like the romance part. It doesn't intrigue me.
Not even romance. I think in general, he doesn't do relationships well.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
Because even, again, with his secondary characters and all the supporting cast of the crew, didn't someone else in this book just said, oh, I cannot carry on anymore, I want to pull out of this crazy adventure?
His gladiator friend, one of the female gladiator friend.
That's right.
Yeah.
And did you care? Did you shed a tear? Did it bother you?
Like, I like, what is his Pally? Is his name Pally? I like that. Yeah, I like him. But he's kind of, and then I liked, who's the one he sent away? I can't remember his name. What's that?
Switch. Yeah,
I like him, and then I like Palion or whatever. I'm getting Star Wars confused in my head. But yeah, other than that, the tertiary character, I don't really care. Like, and that was the issue I had with the Howling Dark and the Empire of Silence is, I get it's from Hadrian's perspective, but I'm a character guy. I love like all the secondary and tertiary characters, and to me, this series, granted, is a first-person narrative, so we're just getting Hadrian. I miss that. I miss building up the characters around the main character, so you can care stuff when I think her name was Syrian or something like that. She left. She just didn't want to fight anymore and do all that stuff. But I don't know. I mean, I didn't care. It's the same thing. What happened in Howling Dark was when the big brute that they had died in that fight with that creature, and like, oh, okay, you were building up these, all these secondary characters, and then you just kill a few of them, and you're just like, whatever, I guess. But I don't know. Yeah.
Because it's that. Do you think it's a tick box that like someone has to die, or we need to lose some characters along the way because in a long epic fantasy sci-fi battle thing, someone has to die, and obviously we're not going to kill our main character, so we need to kill off some secondary characters, but it's just not done effectively.
He is following a formula. I mean, you can definitely see a lot of inspiration with Dune, especially with like what happened in the past in this book with the robots and stuff like that. That's straight out of Dune kind of thing, which is fine. Yeah, he loves Dune. He's paying homage to Dune, but yeah, he's definitely following that box where okay, in the second act, someone has to die to make the third act more relevant, I guess. But
yeah, raise the stakes or whatever it is.
Yeah, raise the stakes. But yeah, I just don't really care about any of the secondary characters, really.
Yeah,
so, and that's a problem.
I think so. I think there's a mark against the series.
Yeah,
I think so. I don't know, like going into details or specifics, but someone mentioned in my channel that I don't know, every story is going to have plot holes, right? Lord of the Rings, whichever book series you pick, there's going to be plot holes. But someone mentioned to me, like, how did the humans ever learn the language of the Cielcin when all the interactions with them have been battles fought to the death? And I'm sure you can explain it that way, but it does make sense, like the point.
Yeah, I never thought about that.
No. I didn't think about it until someone mentioned it. I was like, all right, yeah, actually.
Yeah, because I can't because they just kind of I don't know. Yeah, that's weird. Yeah, that's weird.
Like Hadrian learned from his mentor.
Yeah.
But how? Because he was just a scholar, so he wouldn't have really. I don't know, unless you could sort of intercept communications and then do some sort of, I don't know, language analysis. Like I don't know, right? Rosetta Stone type thing. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't kind of just blew the whole. So I didn't ask. Did you like this story? Did you think this story was good? Like, did you enjoy this more? I can't remember if you. Empire Silence and Howling Dark, you're kind of like with me, where like whatever, it's fine.
Yeah, I mean.
So what about this one?
I think for me, Empire of Silence was correct, was okay.
Yeah.
Howling Dark was a step down. It was giving me Wheel of Time vibes, so I was a little bit concerned. But I think out of the 3 books so far, I think this one has been the better one.
Okay, so it's an upward trajectory.
Also because Howling Dark went a little bit weird with the metaphysical and all the this spirit of the universe, the oracle, and all that kind of stuff, which is not sci-fi, it's not fantasy. I think it's trying to do too much, which is going to be my next point. So basically Hadrian is immortal.
Yeah.
Because now he can step into parallel universes and then come back, and
I didn't like that. I didn't like that. Because
it didn't feel earned.
Now there's really no. He's overpowered. Like there's no his stakes. I guess he's just gonna see the future and basically just take the correct path. I get it. Like that's his character. Like this whole thing is him destroying a civilization. And yeah, I don't know. I'm just kind of I think he's just overpowered. Like what is the seal? Like what's going to be the conflict if you know the future? You know.
Well, and also if you've got that ability to, every time he's attacked, to like sidestep into some parallel universe and then come back and kill your enemy or whatever. I don't know.
I don't like that. I guess I don't know. I mean, it just makes it it just makes it overpowered and just like there's going to be no fear for consequences, I guess, because he can just I don't know.
How do you feel about the book compared to the other 2?
This is definitely a step up, like you said. and like I said, I'm intrigued enough where I have the Kingdom of Death. I got it from the library, and because I wasn't sure I was going to continue with this series after Halloween Dark. So I was kind of thinking, I was like, okay, like I'm going to read Demon in White, and if it doesn't, wow, I don't want to waste my time on another like Wheel of Time thing where I'm just like hate reading it. But I will say this it's intriguing enough where, like, okay, like you kind of caught my attention. How he's immortal and overpowered. I can kind of overlook that just to see, because he is going to destroy the civilization, and he's got to be powerful enough to do that. So we're seeing him how to get that. Like you said, it kind of just came too fast. He, like, was it earned and stuff like that? And now all of his people saw him destroy that one by faking his death, not faking his death, or just basically getting shot and not dying. So all those people think he's a god now. I think they called him like the God Emperor or something like that. And I'm like, okay, so he's got to be powerful enough to destroy the civilization. So we're getting to there. I will say, I don't understand, and I'm probably supposed to be like this. I don't understand what's going on with the others and the Watchers is what they're called. Like, it's like two warring nations, and they're Hadrian's kind of a pawn in that scheme. I don't know what's going on there. One of them is moving backwards in time, which confused the shit out of me. Like, that's where, when I read science fiction and stuff like that's where I get really overwhelmed and kind of like I don't get what's happening. So I'm kind of confused with the others right now.
Because we got the humans and they're fighting the Seals in this alien-like race.
Yes.
But then there is this kind of spirit animal, isn't it? Whatever they are, the quiet, isn't it?
Yeah.
Some sort of hive mind of non-corporeal entities.
Yeah.
But then that's linked to some artificial intelligence that the Americans designed in the past that took over Earth and humanity, and we sort of escaped Earth. So I don't know, like, is there a link between the AI that took over Earth and this quiet spirit? Are they one and the same? I'm a little bit unclear there.
I see that. I'm confused by the whole story. Like, I'm pretty sure is the quiet. The quiet are the good guys. I think they're the good guys. They're moving backwards in time, and they need Hadrian to destroy the Sealson for the quiet to be not destroyed for somehow. I don't know if we got that part yet. And then what was I saying? I just lost I'm so confused about that storyline.
But the Sealsin seem to believe in some sort of higher power.
Yeah.
That I think was the quiet. I'm not entirely.
I think the quiet are against this. The Sealsin are with the watch. The quiet called them the Watchers. So there's two other factions here. There's the quiet, who are fighting the Watchers in my thing, and the Watchers have the Sealsin, and the quiet have Hadrian.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like see that it gets really confusing, but the way I'm picturing it is Hadrian is a pawn, the Sealsin are the pawns, and the real threat are the others, or the Watchers, which we don't really know what the heck. We still don't have at least I don't, unless I wasn't paying attention. I don't know what's going on with I don't know what the conflict is between the Watchers and the quiet yet.
No, you're right. But that helps me sort of understand things better. So yeah, that's sort of happening, some kind of off-page, kind of out in the ether.
Yeah. And I think it was the quiet who helped the human race destroy the
AI.
the machines.
Yeah.
But I don't know what the motive was. All I know is they're moving backwards in time, and they need Hadrian to destroy the Cielcin for something. That's what I got out of that. That was the most confusing part about this book, is that and I think we're not supposed to know yet. I think this is the first book that Ruocchio like put out, like, okay, here's what, because we heard about the Quiet back in I think it was book 1, like when the Quiet kind of showed up, and you're like, who the heck, what is this? So this is the first book in my, hopefully that this is where he's like, I'm going to crack this open enough where you're going to be intrigued, but you're still not going to know what the heck is going on with these space entities that are out there really controlling the universe.
Yeah. We sort of, it's like sort of peeling an onion, isn't it? At the end of book 1, we went to the ruins in this planet. Then in book 2, we had an encounter with the sort of spirit animal, where they just talk to him in riddles and give him some sort of weird prophecy. And now here is where he learns to step into parallel universes. So I think, we're sort of we're falling deeper into that hole of sort of superior intelligence.
That was the least. I mean, it's intriguing, but it's not. It's like I gotta plug this phone in. It's not. It's intriguing, but it's not. I don't know. I'm confused.
No, but I hear you. But because we decided to push back book 4 an extra month, isn't it? We were doing one every 2 months.
Yeah.
And but you're still interested in the series, right? Like,
I will definitely read Kingdom, because I will say, if I was kind of worried if Kingdom was bigger, or at least the size of Demon in White, I'd be like, oh my god, like another 800 page. But I think it's only, like, granted, I have the hardcover, and it's a lot smaller than
540 or something like that. And I think book 5 is also 500 pages.
Yeah,
thereabout. So I think we seem to be over the hump.
I think he's only doing 6, or is it 7? I can't remember, because 5 is out. 6 says we don't have a clue what that is yet.
No, and apparently he's changed publishers. He's with Baen Books now.
Really? Okay.
Because strangely enough, I got an email from an agent in Baen Books to say that they've been watching our discussions and the reviews of the books.
Really?
And apparently Ruocchio is now with them, and so I don't know if that changing of publisher is going to have an impact on. Sorry, I've got a visitor here. I don't know if it's going to have an impact on the publication of the books or not. Sorry, one of my kids has come into the room. Sorry, let me go and usher him out.
Well, that's new. I did not know Baen was watching our videos. Now I'm oh no. They might silence me. If this is the last communication out, please. I don't need a bench. I'm good.
Right, here we are. Poor child was looking for someone to play with. So seems like Mum and his brother couldn't be bothered. So I'll have to go and play with him later. We were saying,
well, that's it. I didn't know Baen was watching our like. That's kind of interesting, I guess.
Yeah. Actually, because someone dropped a comment, and they say, "Oh, I am so and so editor, whatever, agent of Baen. I said, would you be interested in a few advanced reader copies while you wait for the next book in the Sun Eater series?" And I replied, haha, really funny. I said, no, check your email. So I had an email from this person, and then obviously I went straight to googling him, and turns out that apparently yes, it's who they say they
Wow,
are.
legit. Well, that's
Yeah.
cool.
So I intention is to invite him to just have a chat and see. I don't know. See what the deal is there, because it's a bit weird that he's changed publishers kind of
Yeah.
halfway through, or as he's about to finish the series.
Because was it in? Didn't I guess I don't have them right now, but I thought those were indie published. Did he indie publish those, and he finally got a publisher? I can't remember if he.
No, I think the main series, I think, is traditionally published. I think that two novellas are self-published,
Okay.
because the did you read the first novella?
I read the first novella. Yes.
Yeah, that doesn't have any publishers
okay.
name there. It doesn't have anything
Okay.
to show that it's gone through a publishing house.
So did you? I'm assuming. Are you going to find Kingdom of Death, or are you going to rent it from the library, or because I think there's a paperback version out now. I don't remember.
The next book, which one? Which one is the next book? Is it
Kingdom of Death?
Kingdom of Death? I've already ordered. It should be arriving.
Okay.
This week. Should be arriving this week, and that'll be ready for August. As soon as August begins, I'll pick it up. So that's in the works. But I suppose the annoying thing is I've got all of them in paperback. So by the time the last book comes out in paperback, it may be a long time, or maybe just to finish it, I might get the last one in hardback. Depends.
Yeah. No, I'm going the library route. I'm not going to buy them anymore, but whatever. So I've got the. Yeah.
It's part of, like, every month I've got my allowance for books, so that fell into this month's allowance, and that's it.
I will say they look nice on the shelf. They're pretty cool paperbacks. So yeah.
I don't know, like, for such a long book, I think because you've got that political intrigue sandwiched between two action set pieces, and the nature of the. Go on, sorry.
Go ahead. Yeah.
No. I was going to say, all the political intrigue is sandwiched between two long action set pieces. There's actually not that much to talk about, and maybe also because of the nature of the choice of point of view, that everything is told from Hadrian's perspective. So there doesn't seem to be that much to unpick for an 800+ page book.
I will say, I'm going to make a comparison here, which worried me a little bit, but it did not do it. But did you feel that these books, because remember how Wheel of Time, they would just throw a villain in at the very end just to have some sort of conflict? When that guy showed up, I mean, Grant, we have an overarching villain in this. Was that I can't even pronounce his name. But when that human sorcerer showed up at the very end, was he a sorcerer or something, like, who broke the girl's mind? Like, I thought, like, oh my God, they're just throwing this guy in here at the very end, and then he gets defeated. Urban, I think his name was Urban or something like that. Do you remember what I'm talking about? And I thought, it's like, this has Wheel of Time. And then I remember in the one book, Wheel of Time, there was projection of them fighting up in the sky. And then you kind of had that with this one with the giant robot basically the townfolk have seeing him be I don't know. I just got those vibes. I'm like, he did a lot better than Wheel of Time, but
yeah,
if we're just going to be throwing the villains in at the very end just for some sort of conflict, people that we've never heard of, I'm going to be, like, a little disappointed, but there is an overarching villain.
But you're right. It's got a slight whiff of the video game finishing levels and meeting the big boss at the end of the level, isn't it?
Yes, and I was like, oh, and then they just threw the guy in there. It's like, this is just, you're throwing this in there. just to do it, and he did a lot better than Wheel of Time though. But I kind of laughed at that when I was reading that part. It's like, oh my god, here we go again. Like they're just recycling Wheel of, like, oh, but I just wanted to say that. I just like that was in the back of my mind this whole time, just like I don't know, because that just frustrated me so much in Wheel of Time, and I just wanted to say, like, oh my god.
No. I think you're right. But it's a lot more. It's a lot more enjoyable than Wheel of
Yes.
Time for sure.
Yeah.
I don't think at any point. Well, maybe a little bit on the second book. I had a feel of that I was slogging a little bit through it, but nowhere near Wheel of Time sort of slog.
Well, this series is much shorter, so hopefully,
yeah.
hopefully
That's
there
right.
is no slog books.
No, I think I'm relatively excited for the next one, and I'm glad I'm going to pick it up during the holidays, and I'll be able to read it a little bit quicker, like give it a bit more time to read it in longer chunks rather than, because during term time I may read like 20 pages at night, maybe a few pages in the afternoon, and it takes me weeks to read these books.
Yeah.
Whereas during the holidays, and particularly the time that I'm going to be alone, I could just sit down and maybe read 50, 100 pages in one go and enjoy the book a little bit more intensely, so to speak.
All right. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. That for such a long book, we've kind of hit all the talking points. Like,
yeah, it's kind of got the same mistakes, or it suffers from the same issues as the first two books. And I'm guessing that that's going to be a thread in the rest of them. The fact that the secondary characters, the supporting actors, are just not well fleshed out, and that we're not going to have those kind of emotional payoffs and character development.
oh, okay. I will say, what do you think of Alexander? Do you think that he's the Emperor's kid? That this is the first book we were introduced into that character, and there's going to be probably some conflicts going on because their relationship is a little rocky right now. So I mean,
no, okay, I'm willing to admit that that's probably the better sort of. There's a question mark there. You're right, isn't it?
Yes.
Where is it going to go? Where is it going to go? Is that going to cause a conflict with the Emperor, or what's going to happen there? No, I think you're right.
I will say I'm kind of intrigued with that storyline.
Yeah. Because even the love interest, the Doctor Valka, it's pretty meh, isn't it? Like we knew the moment she appeared in book one, we knew that their relationship was going to be a thing.
Yeah.
Sooner or later. But even her character isn't particularly intriguing.
I don't care about their relationship. I don't care about their relationship. Anything. But I am intrigued with that storyline, I guess. So.
No, that's a good point.
And if we're ever going to see Switch again.
There's a lot of things that I think I'll be disappointed if they don't come back. Switch, the two ladies is being proposed or promised in marriage to.
Yeah.
And maybe with his family. Like whatever happened to
Crispin.
Yeah.
I kind of want to see where Crispin is after all this stuff.
And well, we know that Crispin became a born-again Christian in the novella, and that there's a sister now.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But it's I suppose it'd be nice if all those threads came back together in the end.
I will say, after I was looking at some reviews here, and a lot of people are more, and I didn't feel anything with that Gibson guy coming back. I really didn't care too much.
To me that felt a little bit contrived, because paraphrasing Casablanca, of all the monasteries in all the planets in all the universe, he just happens to end up
Yeah.
where Gibson is.
I don't know. People on the internet loved it. I really don't care. I mean, okay, he's
Yeah.
got his mentor back, I guess, but whatever.
Again, I think because just the character relationships are not well developed.
Yeah, I really want to see Crispin come back and kind of join forces with Hadrian. I knew there was some sort of a kind of a rivalry in the first book, but after reading the novella, Crispin's a pretty cool, chill dude. I'd like to see him interact with Hadrian again, but I don't know.
Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see, isn't it?
Yeah. But yeah, hopefully he can flesh out. Give me some more characters to care. That okay. I want it. What I want from this series now for the last 3 books. Give me, because personally, I don't really care about Hadrian. I don't care, and that's pretty bad for if your main character is like, I don't care. Give me somebody to care about. Give me some characters to care about these last 3 books, I guess.
My impression is that we're not going to get it.
That's my fear, but whatever.
We're just going to get a story.
Yeah.
And it's an interesting enough story with a lot of question marks at the moment and sort of fairly, relatively complex issues for me to understand. There's all this metaphysical stuff going on there. But I think character work is not the strength of this series.
Yeah, I can hope, though.
Yeah.
I am curious to see what he'll do after this, though. Ruocchio's definitely going to be on my radar to see. I'd be interested to see him do something else, to see what else he can do.
Taking it in a completely different direction, but did you think that maybe should they start with something a bit more simple and then launch into your series? Because say I think if I go to Gentlemen Bastards, Lies of Locke Lamora, it's the first book in a series, but it works perfectly well as a standalone. And if it hits and is good, away you go to the races. Sanderson started with novellas or standalones, and then Cosmere happened. To sell your premise that the first thing you're ever going to write is a 7-book series, is that the best idea?
So, I've talked about this before. It's a pet peeve of mine. I don't like, and not to say Empire of Silence did this, but if you're this is your first book, the first book needs to be a contained story. It can have an overarching theme that'll get you intrigued, but it needs to be the first book needs to be contained where somebody who just wants to read a standalone can read it, enjoy it, and then leave that overarching conflict or whatever. But the main conflict in the first book needs to be contained. I don't like it when first books end on like cliffhangers, because they're just saying like, oh, now you have to buy my second book. It's just kind of a tactic that I don't like. That's just, in my opinion, is a first book that needs to be contained. Second book, leave as many cliffhangers as you want, because you got me. I'm in. If I bought your second book, I'm ready to go.
And that's what it is for. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the third book is where you wrap everything up, generally in a trilogy. But yeah, that first book, it needs to be a contained story. Because I just think it's going to sound bad, but it's just kind of I don't want to say scam, but you're just scamming your reader to buy the next book. That sounds bad. That's not the way I meant it. But what I'm trying to say is, like, maybe if you don't know what I'm saying, it's just my thing is the first book needs to be a contained story.
Yeah, something I fantasize with. Sorry, I'm just going to say hello to Rob, old colleague of mine. He lives in Romania, I think. He's probably still there. Um, anyway, cheers for dropping in, Rob.
Oh.
The So an idea that I've toyed with, like if I was to become a fantasy writer, I would have like my story will come in booklets in a box, and you could start wherever you wanted, and eventually it would, like the pieces of a puzzle that you could read in any order, and eventually you get the whole story.
Okay.
So that'd be something that I would be very excited if someone did that. If someone, gave you like, this is my fantasy world, these are my characters, these are the main books, but you've got all these other novellas, all these other short stories that you can pick at any point to give you background on everyone else, because there are a lot of stories to be told in Sun Eater that we don't know about, that would give us a greater emotional attachment and involvement with the secondary characters.
Yeah.
A bit like he's done with the novellas, right?
Yeah.
But that you could pick those, almost like I almost want a fantasy series where there is no reading order, and you could just sort of read as you go along.
Isn't that kind of what, I haven't read them, but isn't that what Discworld is kind of? Sort of?
Kind of. Yeah, I mean, I'm guessing that it's probably very difficult to do because everything has to have an internal chronology, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, Discworld is probably as close as you can get to that.
Yeah.
That there are a lot of different entry points into the series, and then you can go back and forth. But you need to be careful, because obviously you need a map. Like, these characters go with these 5 books, and these characters go with these 3 books. So you've got different entry points, and then eventually probably Discworld.
It's kind of like what the MCU was back before, the Avengers kind of came out. Sort of.
Yeah, because you could start with
You could have started wherever.
Yeah, the Iron Man movies, or the Captain America movies, or the, I don't know who else was there, what, Thor movies.
Movie. Yeah.
And you know that you've got these key points along the series, which are the team ups, and that you should watch those chronologically by everything else. You can do it. Yeah, something like that.
There was another series that did that. I can't. Yeah, there was an author that it's kind of like, is it the Forgotten Realms series, stuff like that, like Drizzt, sort of?
Not quite. The thing with Forgotten Realms is that it's a shared universe, but there's no interlinking stories. So,
okay.
So you can pick the Ed Ringwood, the Elminster series, or you could pick someone else's series, or you could pick the Salvatore Legend of Drizzt. They just happen to take place in the same world, but they don't link to it.
Okay. Well, you're onto something. Like,
there you go.
It probably take a lot. You gotta have a lot of stories to. Yeah.
Well, maybe that's what, I don't know. Sanderson, is that the closest thing to that in the Cosmere? You can just if Cosmere joins together. I don't know if it does. I don't know if Mistborn, Era 1, Era 2, Stormlight, Elantris, if all those things connect in some sort of cohesive narrative, then probably that's the next thing. But I'm not entirely sure that they do.
I think with the Cosmere, there are different points in time. Like, I think Mistborn takes place a long time before or it might be the other way around. Mistborn takes place. They don't take place in the same time. It's in the same universe, but it's not the same time. So I don't know if you'll have interlinking characters. There is that one Hoyd character that he has that jumps around between books and stuff like that. That's your main crossovers.
But there's no overall story, is it?
No, it's not an overall story, I guess. But they all take place in the same universe at different times. I don't know if they actually ever. No, I don't think so, because they're on different planets. They wouldn't be talking about like Mistborn in the the Stormlight archives. But
yeah,
I get your sake. That'd be it would be definitely an undertaking.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just giving this idea away for free there. Whoever wants to take
there
it
you go.
Yeah,
Whoever can figure that out, because I definitely am not. I'm not smart enough to be able to keep every track of everything.
No, you got to map that out properly.
You know what? It's kind of like the Star Wars universe before it became Disney took over. All those the Legends canon books.
Yeah.
Kind of like that.
Right. I think we've pretty much covered the book. Plus, then as usual, we've gone off on tangents and which is great. I love it, by the way. So thank you very much, Ian. But I think if there's something else you want to say about the books, if not, I think for me, I'm okay to wrap it up here.
No, yeah, I'm intrigued to start the next one. I will. It's hooked me again.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Thank you everyone for watching.
Indeed. And we'll reconvene in August, isn't it? We'll start reading in August, book 4, and take it from there.
Yep.
All right. Thank you, Ian. Thank you very much,
Thanks,
everyone.
everybody.
Take care. Bye-bye. And again, is this going to stop? It is going to